What's up, everybody? Josh or Miho here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an album review to do for you, and I'm going to show it to you right now. This is the new album from the band Behemoth, entitled The Satanist. This is released on Metal Blade Records. Now, to make a long story short, Behemoth are one of the most famous, well-known extreme metal acts to come out of Poland. And for the past 20 plus years or so, this has been a band that has been evolving and making many moves within the extreme metal world, be it black metal or death metal. Behemoth, in my opinion, have really set forth their thumbprint within the metal world. From their 2000s material to their later 2000s material to even their stuff in the 90s. I've always appreciated this band's body of work and their ability to change and do different things. I mean, the first three albums, Storming Near the Baltic, excuse me, Grom, Pandemonic Incantations, just some incredible works. And then moving on to the end of the 90s and on to the later 2000s, stuff like Thelema 6, Zoskia Cultus, and even Demigod to an extent. I really enjoyed those records. Just some memorable songs, great vocals, great lyrics. I enjoyed what I heard from this band. Then, of course, leading on into the later 2000s with stuff like The Apostasy and Evangelion. They've obviously gotten a more modern, up-to-date sound. They've added a little bit of a death metal structure to their sound. And, of course, they have become a lot more popular. Popular within metal and music, going on a lot of national tours, touring around the world, touring around the United States, having more of a bigger opportunity for exposure. And yeah, this album has already had a lot of trials and tribulations to be made. And now that all of that is out of the way, we have the 10th full-length album from Behemoth entitled The Satanist. It's 9 tracks, and it clocks in at around 44 minutes in length. And pretty much as soon as this album was able to be in my hands, I wanted to have the best opportunity as humanly possible to just throw my headphones on and listen to this album from first track all the way to last. I wasn't going to be antsy and depend on any sort of stream or leak. I wanted this album to be in my hands. And as soon as it was, I put it in, pressed play, and gave it many listens. And to me, out of all of the material this band has put out within the last 10 years or so, I honestly feel that The Satanist is probably their most mature effort yet. This is an album that showcases signs of maturity from where they were then to what they are at now. And it is a breathtaking listen, I'd say. Yeah. I heard the first 2 tracks, Blow Your Trumpets, Gabriel, and Ora Pro Nobis Lucifer. These were the songs that were released officially. I was expecting them to be different. I really wasn't expecting everything to be what Evangelion was the last time around. I was expecting something completely different, and pretty much that's what I get with the 9 tracks that are on here. There's a lot of differing music styles and structures going on here, and I'm appreciating what is being done here with The Satanist, and yeah, amazing. This has been well worth the wait, and wow, where do I get started here? Of course, if you know a Behemoth record, you already know the heaviness that will lie within the guitar riffs. You already hear it on the tracks like Blow Your Trumpets, Gabriel, and the other track, Ora Pro Nobis Lucifer. But the way the guitar work on here, it just feels very structured. It feels very carefully crafted. I mean, when you hear tracks like Furor Divinus and Amen, just the intensity and just scary vibes that you pick up when you listen to the guitar, I picked that up very well with those particular tracks. I mean, just the way the riffs are, the tone of it, the heaviness of it, I loved that. I really love that and enjoyed that about the guitar riffs. Even some of the solo work the solo work and the inclusion of high-picked riffs. I mean, tracks like Messe Noir, the title track, and Ben Sahar. Just some very tastefully done solos. They don't seem to want to try to be show-offish in any kind of way. The solos are just there to do their job, and I think it is very, very well placed and very well executed here with those particular songs. Um, Moving on to what I think is probably my favorite thing about this entire album, and that is the bass guitar. I love how the bass guitar is on this album. It's audible from the minute you first put this album on, and every track that follows after that, it just feels great. It feels sensational. It doesn't try to be too dominant. The way that it sounds and the way that it's mixed, it's just terrific. I love that about the bass tone of this album. Preferably on songs like, I want to say the closing track of this album, O Father, O Satan, O Son. The underlying bass tone of that track is just so powerful. I really enjoy the way that it's being played on that particular track. Just the methodical patience of it all just really, really pays off. And the way the bass is being handled here throughout this album, I think it's really, really amazing. Very beautifully played, very expertly crafted. I just love what the bass guitar brings to this album. Now we move on to the drums. I've been hearing a lot of people have different opinions about the way the drums sound on this album. And pretty much, I was expecting things to be a little bit stripped back and held back just a little bit, because we all know Inferno is an incredible drummer. He can do anything. He can play any kind of drum style, and he is tremendous at what he does. But with the Satanist, things seem to be a little bit varied in spots. Like, you get what you would expect from a normal Behemoth release. You get a lot of very fast fills, great drum rolls, awesome blast beats, but there seems to be a little bit more of a darker, black metal-esque type of edge within his drum performance. I think it's really awesome. Moving on towards the last three tracks of this album, Ben Sahar, In the Absence of Light, and O Father, O Satan, O Son. Just some really terrific drum patterns, some awesome drum work, just the way that it sounds. Of course, you would expect the drums to sound a little bit clean and more modern and up to date, and I think for Behemoth that kind of style works. That kind of production style works specifically well for them. I really appreciate what's being done here with the drums. I think it sounds awesome. When the fast moments kick in, it's just crazy. I mean, songs like Furor, Divinus, Amen, just some amazing drum work going on there. I mean, that's where you pick up the fast-paced Behemoth sound that you would best be familiar and comfortable with. I think it's awesome, this drum performance that Inferno puts on. It's amazing. And moving on to the vocals. I don't know about you, but I absolutely enjoy the way Nergal's vocals sound here. They sound a lot more natural. They sound more frightening, a lot crazier, I would say. Because I always thought that Nergal had a really awesome vocal style. Just something very powerful and heavy. Of course, the lyrics are in English, but the way he says it, it just sounds scary. The way that he delivers his vocals are incredible. The lyrics are a lot more in-depth and detail than you would expect. I mean, of course, this album is called The Satanist, and of course, that's not really new when it comes to both the black metal and death metal worlds. But the way the lyrical themes and the content of this album flows together, it just feels really interesting. It feels very philosophical, very insightful. I mean, you probably may have heard stuff like this before, or maybe even better than this, but in the case of The Satanist, I think the lyrical content and the concepts and the themes work very well here. I think it's incredible, especially the last three tracks that I mentioned. Just some really great lyrical content. I would say, however, if I were to have any one complaint, is just the way things are in this particular digipack. Of course, you're going to get lyrics with the notes and the booklets and all that, but just the way the lyrics are on here, it's a little hard to read, so it kind of makes the idea of singing along to it just a little bit more difficult. But I think that kind of thing aside, you can put that to the side and, you know, figure it out from there. But what I did read of the lyrics and what I was able to decipher of all of it, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the lyrical content a lot. Very smart, very intelligent, and different from the norm, I would say. But overall, this is probably one of the best things I've heard Behemoth do in a long, long time. This album was well worth the wait, well worth the trials and tribulations, and just another thing to point out, I should say, is the artwork. The Dennis Forkas artwork is amazing. He's done artwork for bands like Wrath, Prayer, and Grave Miasma, and the artwork that's in the Satanist, the album cover, the alternate artwork, the other paintings that he did for this album is just beautiful. I love that about this artwork, and it is incredible. So from the artwork to the music to the lyrics to the themes and just the overall sense of atmosphere and urgency, even to the additions of the orchestration, the choir vocals. It might seem a little over the top, but for the sake of this album, I think it works. I think it works tremendously here. So I love this album. I think it's amazing. It's one of the best things I've heard Behemoth done in a long, long time. And if you're a fan of this band, definitely give it an effort to listen to it. Don't expect things to be all blast beats and guttural vocals. There's a lot more depth and smart stuff going on here than meets the eye. Of course, if you've never heard Behemoth, if you're really not a fan, I don't really know what else to tell you except to listen to something else that's even better than this, because this year is not over yet, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to find other albums that are probably better than The Satanist. But until that time comes, I'd say this is another top quality release. So we all have our opinions, but mine on this album is I think it rules. So if I had to pick any favorite tracks, I would definitely have to say Blow Your Trumpets, Gabriel, Furor Divinis, Messe Noir, Ben Sahar, and O Father, O Satan, O Son. So this album is pretty much available in any kind of format, CD, vinyl, digital. These guys will be touring the States for the Metal Alliance Tour with Inquisition, 1349, Goat Whore, and Black Crown Initiative. It's going to be an interesting year for Behemoth, I should definitely say. So, again, the album is The Satanist by Behemoth. This is released on Metal Blade Records. Definitely support this band if you're into Behemoth, and I'm going to give this, for the time being, a 9.5 out of 10. An album of the year contender? Maybe. Who knows? But I love this album. Let me know what you think if you happen to heard it. I know we will not have the same opinions, but that's the way life is, I guess. So, I'm going to conclude this review. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel. And until the next time, Army Ho out.